Alright, you battlers, you know what it is. JayDevin back at it with another Go Battle League video. So, we fell again. We did. Our rating fell. It's down to 2802. Last video, I think it was 2818 or something like that. I actually made a huge comeback. It was really surprising. I was getting into the low 2700s, you know, a couple sets in. My first set yesterday was pretty solid with a new kind of spicier team that I put together. It was really solid. It was a solid 4-1. And then I used it in the next two sets and it was just terrible. Utterly terrible. The set after that I went 0-5 and then a 1-4. So I'm like, all right.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more.
All right, this is not working. I'm done trying to play games, you know, with the spice, trying to be spicy. Like, I'm just going to stick to what I know at least works and what I know is consistent and can perform, which is what we're going to talk about with this team here. And this was the last set that I had yesterday that you're going to see featured on the side over here. I think this was a 4-1. I think I only lost in game 4 in this set I lost. But one thing I've noticed that I was doing constantly with my teams is I was trying to make up for the fact that I do not have a Poliwrath by comping, you know, something spicy with Lucario. So, you know, it worked. It definitely worked. Again, it got me from 2500 range up to this 2800 range. I even got close to 2900 with it. But really, like, at this point, by the time this video goes up, I already almost have my Poliwrath built. I grinded almost all day today to get some dust and rare candies, whatever I can do to get this Poliwrath built. It is double moved now. I only need like 50 more candies and a few more power-ups, and then it's basically done. Poliwrath, though, you have to essentially max, so it's pretty expensive. The one I've decided to go with isn't necessarily optimal for PvP IVs. It's a lucky one. I just went with the lucky to save dust. That's why I did it. But again, though, that's what I've started to notice is all the teams that I make, I would basically try and sub out for Poliwrath. Like, I could do it, but it's better to just have the Poliwrath so that your other picks can provide that extra coverage. I felt like some slots that I left in my team were vulnerable because I would comp, what's a good example? When I would comp Lucario next to Lapras, that's a pretty solid duo for the most part, except that if you lose the lead or if you lose your Lucario early on, you're definitely going to have steel problems. Like, you are going to have Registeel and or Melmetal problems, and there's absolutely no way around that. And it was like holes like that, you know, flaws in the teams like that, those are the barriers, I guess, that I kind of created for myself from pushing further. And like, Poliwrath could have functioned in both roles that I had between Lapras and Lucario. So at this point, like, just invest in Poliwrath, right? This team, though, real quick, let's talk about the team. So the first note thingy that I made for myself or for you is that it has consistent plays. So what I mean by consistent plays is that, I don't know if consistent was the right word, maybe. I want to say reliable, maybe, like reliable plays. I don't know. Consistent seems right. But when I say consistent plays, you know Swampert can be super consistent, right? He can stand up to basically anything. Like, the only thing they can really bring to actually shut him down is going to be a grass. And I still almost never see grass. I saw one grass user in all my sets last night, just once. So yeah, Swampert, super consistent, super high performer. He's amazing. Alolan Muck, also super consistent. You know, Alolan Muck can still do work against a Registeel matchup, even though, you know, you would rather have Swampert in that matchup, for example. Alolan Muck can stand up to everything. Like, the worst thing you would see with Alolan Muck is if they have a fighter that they swapped in, such as Lucario or Poliwrath, right? Or even Machamp. But with this thing, so again, consistent plays, you'll notice I'm not running Gunk Shot on this right now anymore. I'm actually running Sludge Wave because I want more consistent plays with this team. You can see I was having mega lag here in this battle too. That was some of my problems in some of the earlier sets for my battles yesterday, is a lot of lag. One of the matches, unfortunately, I completely had to quit out of because it froze entirely. I couldn't respond, I couldn't switch, I couldn't pull up anything. Like, it was just frozen. So I reset, and of course it gave me a loss. it is what it is. But yeah, consistent plays, and that's why I'm running the Sludge Wave, because of it is more energy efficient than Gunk Shot, and you're also going to reach it faster. Yeah, that's why I run it that way. Because, you know, if you find yourself in a tough spot against I forgot his name already, a Poliwrath. If you find yourself in a rough spot against a Poliwrath, as an example, Sludge Wave is going to be... I think you can count on Sludge Wave more to come through for you in that situation, rather than trying to bait a Dark Pulse and then land a Gunk Shot or something, if that makes sense. Like, Sludge Wave, I just feel like is better for situations like that. So that's why I opted to go with Sludge Wave at this point. And then, yeah, on the Giratina, you can see this is a Giratina Origin, obviously. You got the big flying ghost dragon worm. This is not Giratina Altered, so I do not have a second move on it. I am just running Shadow Claw and a Shadow Ball. I don't even think I'm going to double move this one. Maybe. We'll see. I might actually. We'll see. We'll hold off. But yeah, Shadow Claw and just Shadow Ball. So this is part of what can make the team really consistent, even though you might think when you look at that, like, that's a terrible idea. You know, if they have Snorlax in the back and they take out your Alolan Muck and your Swampert, then you're done for. Well, the way you should play the team, that's not going to happen, honestly. So just Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. If I were to add a second move, by the way, I would go Dragon Pulse. Yeah, I would go Dragon Pulse. But Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball on the Giratina. So I prefer the nuke ability rather than, you know, trying to get boosts with Ominous Wind or just having the coverage with the Dragon Pulse. Because Giratina Origin here, as you know, is going to be more attack-based as a Pokemon for its stat spread as compared to Giratina Altered. Giratina Altered will be more defensive. But if you get these nukes off, right? If I have the shield advantage and or an energy advantage in a Giratina Origin to Giratina Altered matchup, like this one, then it's GG's. It's done for. I think I actually lost this one by like 1 HP though. Oh no, we won. Oh no, okay, yeah, they still had the... Bruh! They still had the Swampert, so we lost that one. But situations like that, if I manage my shields and my energy correctly, this team will nuke. The whole team has nuke options, okay? So I think that was actually the third point I put. Yeah, third point is nuke options. Like, you can nuke a lot of things with Hydro Cannon. You can definitely nuke some picks with Earthquake, right? That's kind of obvious. You can nuke a Giratina Altered if it's low enough. You can definitely nuke a Registeel. You can nuke another Swampert. If a Venusaur is low enough, you can even nuke a Venusaur with the Earthquake. And then Dark Pulse doesn't necessarily nuke, but it kind of nukes against the Psychics, right? Against Cresselia, Armored Mewtwo, and then Sludge Wave would be there for, I guess, just the general coverage against a fighter, but also specifically for the fairies. Then the Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, nuke ability with the Giratina Origin. It literally is. I don't remember who said it, honestly. I think it might have been Zionic. If it was you, Zionic, shout out to you, my guy. But somebody called Giratina Origin the Haunter of the Ultra League, and I agree with that. I do. I agree with that, because, right, you have the Shadow Claw and the Shadow Ball. He's a little bit squishier, and he can just nuke picks, and typically I like to save shields for him. So I don't think he can be applied the same way that Haunter can be applied in Great League in Ultra League, but he's kind of the same thing. He's like a Haunter turned into like a parasite ghost worm and powered up. I don't know. Yeah, Ultra League Haunter basically is what's going on with it. What was my other point? And I had another point. Oh, Charge Farm for the timer. Okay. That's the best way to explain this. It's probably already happened a couple times in the gameplay while I've been chatting and I didn't even notice it. But I will work the charge farms. It's part of energy management, I guess, with this team. I will work the charge farms for the swap timers to build up energy to where I can win matchups just like that. Literally just like that. So, dang, what's a good example if I were to just say it? As an example here for charge farm for the timer, right? If they open up with Giratina Altered and I open up with my Swampert, I swap instantly into my... I wouldn't do instantly, honestly. I would probably build up to a Hydro Cannon and then swap into my Alolan Muck. normally, obviously, they're going to respond with something. A lot of people do like to safe switch Swampert in the Ultra League, so I found typically in practice they're going to bring in Swampert to answer my Alolan Muck. And I like to manipulate that, right? Because that's what people normally do. I like to use that to my advantage. But when they do that, I already have an energy lead on that Muck. Even if they do it instantly, like I'm guaranteed to have at least a 1 Snarl energy lead for their Swampert as an answer. So I will just keep throwing Snarl, build up all the energy. And then depending on like if they just straight throw a Hydro Cannon, I will not shield, maybe. It depends, I guess. Shield or not shield, but once they throw the Hydro Cannon, if I'm at the proper point, I'm going to throw 1 Dark Pulse. You don't want to throw them immediately back to back with the way I do this. Just throw 1 Dark Pulse. If they've only built up to 1 Hydro Cannon, just throw 1 Dark Pulse, get in 2 more Snarls, and then throw another Dark Pulse. Because you have that energy lead, by the time they're attempting to get to another Hydro Cannon, or by the time they would have reached it, you've already thrown another Dark Pulse their way, and they're in a position where they're forced to either use a shield or take the damage. And my Alolan Muck has basically like manipulated that matchup just based off the energy lead. And I think that's a great way to use Alolan Muck, right? So that's one example. I know it might be a little convoluted and you might not exactly understand it, but basically, because all of these picks have the fast energy generating fast moves, right? Mudshot, Snarl, and Shadow Claw. If and when you swap, I will not just immediately throw the charge move. I will wait for the opponent to throw first, right? So I will just build up as much as I can until they throw. And it's really something that like just comes with practice. You have to learn to, I guess, count, but also keep track of your own energy, right? Like the Alolan Muck. Like there's some points in the battle where you just like where you know it's like if I think I need 1 more Snarl, and then I will have back-to-back Dark Pulse. Like in those moments, that's what I do. I will let them throw, and then I will throw right after that, throw 2 Snarls, and then throw again, basically. And then by the time that happens, whether they shield or don't shield, or even if they let their Swampert or Snorlax fall, whatever they answered with, normally by the time that happens, between those 3 charge move animations and the time it takes them to swap, the swap timer for me is going to be available again. So I can then swap out into my own Swampert and or my Giratina to play more energy lead games, basically. So yeah, that's basically what it boils down to, especially when I mean, consistent plays. I guess that is contingent upon proper energy management and knowing when you want to win which matchup, right? And that's part of the main team composition with this as well too, is I want to lead with Swampert because for the most part, he's going to destroy all the steals. And then I have basically 2 Giratina altered counters available. And I did opt to go with Giratina Origin specifically over Giratina Altered, not just because of the mirror matchup, and also disregarding the Snorlax matchup. Like, for the most part, I don't care. Again, if I work my energy and my timing properly, I can take care of a Snorlax. It's not a huge deal. I chose to go with Giratina Origin because he can take advantage of some other matchups aggressively and offensively that the Giratina Altered simply cannot, like the Swampert, like the Armored Mewtwo. All these other matchups that Giratina Altered, can take some extra damage in just because it's not dishing out enough damage itself. So that's, if that makes sense. It's using the energy gain between all 3 of these picks, and it's also, I guess, exemplifying how much more offensive of a Pokemon Giratina Origin is and can be as compared to Giratina Altered. Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot to say. That might have been too much. Jeez. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, after the set and everything, all the sets from yesterday, and I ended at 2802. I did have, I guess, the last 2 sets that I did with this squad. I'm liking this so far. I'm definitely looking forward to using Poliwrath. But anyways, we're going to have Master League coming up very, very, very soon. So are you scared? Don't be scared. Trust me, we got this. We can get it figured out. I don't know exactly when I'll put the first Master League video up. I do want to make sure we're, a little bit ahead of the curve, but I don't want to necessarily don't want to, put one out tomorrow. That I feel like that's a little premature. Maybe we do, because Master League should be out. Was it Thursday or Friday? I think it was Friday. I'm pretty sure it was Friday. Oh dang, I might have to do one tomorrow. Yeah, I might do my Master League intro video or whatever tomorrow, so look forward to that. But yeah, Battlers, that is it for this video. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you feel my vibe. Power up, punch the notification bell for all that PvP content. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good stinking day.